Few things in this world are as exciting as the opportunity to sit down with your manager and hear what they have to think about your work over the last year. I mean, it fills your heart with joy and excitement for the opportunity to have a annual review from your boss. I think we all know that one, right? Obviously, I'm being a little facetious there. But what makes it even better is when you have a 360-degree review where everyone gets to chime in on how awesome it is to work with you and for you. Things I just it fills you with a sense of purpose. No, we all know that's not the case. People just annual reviews are a challenge into itself. With the folks that I work with, we worked on quarterly reviews for reasons which we'll talk about later. But we want to, but also the way that they tie reviews to compensation conversations is terrible. It's absolutely awful. You're there wondering, hey, what am I going to get for a raise while they're talking to you? Right. So they say they start off with a review like, hey, the review is like, oh, here's your raise. Now let's talk about your review. You're not really listening to the review because you're thinking about, okay, your raise that you got, was it what you expected? Was it less? Was it more? How's this going to help you? What issues is it going to cause? Right. Blah, blah, blah. On the flip side of that, if they do the review first and then save the compensation conversation to the end, you're not thinking about what they're saying. You're wondering what your raise is going to be. So it's one of those things like, it's already painful when you have them tied together. And then if you're going to add 360 on top of it, it's just an issue. We're going to look at an article from SHRM, our folks over at the HR professional folks there, their group that they have, where they've done a survey and found out that, surprise, majority of employees reject 360-degree reviews because of bias and folks that don't like them. Again, for those who don't know, my name is Ryan Howe. I'm a business coach that works out of West Michigan and around the country, and I come here on YouTube pretty consistently every single day, sharing information I share with my clients, and I hope to earn your subscription today. So let's get into this here. This is from SHRM. Link is in the description if you want to go check it out. So majority of employees reject 360-degree reviews citing bias by Roy Maurer. Look, right here, rejecting the review. That's happening right there. Now, most employees are disillusioned with 360-degree assessments, a popular HR tool. HR loves them. We had them when I was doing HR, and I'll tell you, you could not convince anyone that there was issues with those things and why it was a good thing. And when done correctly, and there's all stuff we're going to talk in a little bit. When the culture is right, and everything's right, 360 is not bad, but it's a cart before the horse type of thing that's happening when people are using 360-degree assessments. All right, anyways. So again, for those that don't, 360-degree reviews are a process which managers, direct reports, peers, and coworkers contribute anonymous evaluations of an individual's performance. And they're broadly used by HR, especially at large organizations. Again, anonymous, wink. You can pretty much figure out who said what about you pretty quickly. You gotta know those things. But it's anonymous, right? Now, the measurement is designed to collect organizational feedback or help managers deliver comprehensive performance reviews. However, a recent survey from Live Career says, there's biases in workplace politics that tend to cause problems with these, right? Shocker. According to Live Career, we're going to look at these percentages here. 79% of the 1,000 workers surveyed would opt out of the 360-degree feedback if given a choice. 74% say the results are unfair, biased, or inaccurate. Specifically, let's look at the specificity here. 79% of employees, right, suspect colleagues of using the feedback to settle personal grudges. Oh, I can't wait. Steve is looking at Heather saying, oh man, I can't wait. I hate her. I can't wait to badmouth her on this thing. All right. Vice versa, other people around it, right? 79%. So 80% of folks think it's just an opportunity to talk crap about each other. 48% believe 360-degree reviews amplifies office politics rather than provide honest evaluations. Okay. 48% feel feedback is tainted by personal bias. Again, for those, if you want to put down in the comments here, I would be really interested in hearing what some of your experiences, those that have been with 360-degree evaluate reviews before. I'd love to hear kind of what your experiences with them on that, because I got different views on my end. We're going to talk about those in a second, but I'd love to hear yours. 39% experience strained workplace relationships due to a 360-degree feedback. I know that one. 35% reported increased stress and self-doubt. That's not good. And 30% noted decreased productivity and motivation following the 360-degree reviews. Not surprising, right? And again, just to go back to this before we get back in the article, here you are, you're going about doing your business. You think you've got everything under control, right? And you're handling things. I'm doing business and things are going great. And then you get your review, and all of a sudden, everyone's marking you down. And you're like, whoa, where did all this come from? Why didn't I hear about this before? I've been doing this for how long? What's going on here? Why are people not sharing this information with me? Like, all these questions are going on. So I understand where the self-doubt comes from. And that's one of the main reasons that we do quarterly reviews with the companies that I work with. It's so important. Can you imagine? There was a time, and I've shared this story before, but we're going to share it again here real quick because it's relevant, where I had a boss wait 4 months to tell me something so that they would look good to their boss that on their review, right? They didn't tell me until I had my review. They let me say dumb stuff for 4 months in front of my team so that they could have something for their review so they would look good to their boss. Like, that's what I'm talking about here. Rather than understanding how you should be doing these things, this is what happened. My head was just pounding. I was like, what do you mean? You wait 4 months and let me look dumb? Come on, man. Not okay. All right. So untying 360-degree feedback from compensation. This is the big piece here. And it should not be at the same time you're having compensation, period. If someone deserves a raise, give them a raise. This attaching the feedback form and like the review of people, what people think of them, to the same time that they're having their compensation is terrible. It really is. You shouldn't do that. We want them completely separate. We want people performing better, right? They're happier at work and everything's good. That's the goal of this. Compensation is a completely separate conversation, okay? If you get that, you will absolutely see the way people will buy into the review process will go up. Like, you'll be much more apt to get good feedback from folks if you remove the compensation piece from reviews. Okay. One of the best ways to get feedback from staff, but HR, and they're talking about these reviews here, but HR needs to ensure that bias and personal grudges are not affecting the process, right? Yeah. Wink. You got to don't let it happen here. Not putting measures in place to dissuade these things is an easy way to break trust with staff. Jones added that if a 360-degree feedback is used directly for performance management, it's important that it only be a piece of the assessment and not the deciding factor. That is extremely important here, where if you want to use a 360-degree piece here, if you want to use this 360-degree feedback, it's meant to get a vibe check. Like, that's the idea. What's the vibe? And then there should be other ways that you are looking at measurement of performance, right? Metrics, what they're supposed to be doing for their work, et cetera, deliverables, objectives, et cetera. Not this is the end all be all with the vibe check. I've had plenty of people that that the vibe check was just off, but they excelled at their work and the customers liked them. It's just that the folks that worked with them didn't like them. And, I'm balancing that, saying, okay, they're doing what I'm asking them to do. How can I help them maybe get a better, and it was my job to help them see how we could help them maybe get a little better vibe with folks, maybe change the way they talk, whatever it was, those type of things. All right. But we want feedback to be timely. Look at this right here. Feedback should be timely. A lot of times these reviews are months apart, like a year in many cases. Forget that noise. If you need to talk to somebody, you need to talk to them. One of the issues I have here, and this is a great part here, should feedback be anonymous? Anonymous feedback is intended to encourage candor and protect reviewers. But while 62% of the survey respondents believe anonymous feedback encourages honesty, 28% says it leads to vague and unconstructive criticism. And that's part of the issue that you see when I talk about you want to have a culture figured out first, right? So we're going to leave the rest of the article here for you guys to go check out. I want to be able to speak about this now. That's an important piece. 360-degree reviews are meant to be a way to measure the vibe check for your culture. Like, that's kind of what you want to see. Look less at what people are saying about the individual. Look more at and ask the question of, hey, we had a lot of people who are willing to say stuff to us and fill this out anonymously, yet no one was willing to go, like Steve and Alice and Bob and Michael were not willing to go talk to Miguel about an issue. They just weren't talking to them. So the question needs to go out to your entire team at that point. Why is it you aren't sharing this communication with each other? Like, you should be willing to do that feedback, and your job is to help work through that. So that's really where it comes down to here. This piece here is that you're misusing the HR. This is on you 100%. You're using this wrong, and you're telling people to do it wrong intentionally, like, because you want a different outcome. What I tell for every business owner that I talk with on this, 360 reviews are good when used in the correct way to manage the correct outcome. The problem you run into is just they're not done that way. So the advice I give to my clients on this is very straightforward. One, we're going to do quarterly reviews. We're going to talk to our folks quarterly and actually have structured reviews. Compensation is a completely separate conversation. If someone deserves a raise, we give them a raise. We look at a I want to say here, CPI adjustment, right? For to keep up with inflation once a year. That does occur. It's outside of any sort of reviews. It's not attached. When you're doing your reviews, talk with people. If you want to do 360, that's fine. Just understand it's a vibe check. It comes up after execution and deliverable on objectives that are outlined specifically in their job description. Right? We always go back to the job description. If you do that part first, where you focus on how well are they working and delivering on their job description as written and meeting the objectives as required by their team, we start there. Then you can have the conversation like, yo, hey Alice, let's talk about the actual 360 review portion of this. You're upsetting a lot of folks. I'm not sure what's going on here. We're going to work with the team to figure out and remind everybody to talk to them. But right now, hey, the vibe's off. What do you think it could be? How can we possibly work to help you with this? A way to facilitate conversation, blah, 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 right? Put on your empathy hat and try to help solve that piece, okay? That's how you use them. That's how you use them. Don't misuse these things, okay? They're dangerous. All right. So with that, again, hopefully I earned your subscription today. If you'd like to learn more about how I help businesses grow faster than ever thought possible and help business owners build companies that are valuable and sell, please feel free to reach out at summitbusinessguides.com.